January 18th, my name is Bill McCamley. I'm a state representative from Las Cruces and Mesilla, up here in Santa Fe on the floor of the House of Representatives with your legislative update for the day. Wanted to talk with you about three things. The first is the most important. The House of Representatives today ratified a nursing compact, which is going to the governor's office right now in order to get signed by midnight tonight. And what this means is that people who get nursing certifications here in New Mexico will be able to then go work in other states that have the compact, and then those nurses will be able to come here. And that's really important for a whole lot of things. Down in Las Cruces, where I'm at, a lot of nurses go back and forth from El Paso to New Mexico, and when you have, for instance, a situation in any other place in the state where you need a traveling nurse to come in, if a local nurse has a long-term illness or something like that, then that allows that to happen, and vice versa. And that's really, really important. It was the big thing we needed to get done, and we got it done, which is really great. The second thing is, there was a great meeting this morning with some folks that are really pushing early childhood issues, and that's education, healthcare, making sure people are in a safe space, regular childcare, that sort of thing. And the real issue that seemed to come out is that starting in kindergarten, we have a very, very consistent program for students, kindergartners across the state. But when you get down to 3- and 4-year-olds, it's not consistent at all. The federal government provides Head Start money to some districts. The state provides other money to some other districts. There's some private money that helps come in, and it's all over the place. There's just no consistent program, and that means that 4-year-olds around the state generally have somewhere to go. 3-year-olds, some places they do, some places they don't. And when you look at a lot of the research regarding early childhood care and early childhood education, it doesn't really make sense that we're not spending money to have a consistent program for those little kids, because if they get good education, if they are in a safe space, if they have good health care, then that has all sorts of real effects on them later in life. And in fact, one of the things that it really does is keeps people out of prison long term. And that's one of the things we need to do much better on here in New Mexico, is finding consistent funding, consistent programs, so that kids have a real shot of making it. The last thing I want to talk about is we had a presentation in my Energy Committee today about royalties. And as many of you who pay attention to New Mexico politics know, the state budget is really reliant on oil and gas and other mineral royalties to make our state work. And that is both a direct infusion from those taxes into the state budget every year, about $2 million, plus the proceeds of the state permanent funds, which exist. They grow a little bit through Wall Street, and they grow more and more every year by all of the royalties we take, additional royalties we take on oil and gas. And that money comes back to help with schools, and then some of the other money comes back to help with infrastructure. Two really interesting things on that. First off, the state land commissioner, Aubrey Dunn, a Republican, actually had a quote where he said, we didn't move from the horse and buggy to oil because we didn't have enough horses. We moved on because we found something better. And he said, shortly, we will move on from oil as a fuel source because we're finding something better. Now, he didn't say it was wind and solar, but he thought fusion might be one of the things that we look at. But coming from a Republican land commissioner, that really underscored the necessity of our state to really diversify our economy away from all this reliance on oil and gas revenues, because if we don't, and he's right, which he probably is, we're going to be hurting long term. And we saw what happened when oil and gas prices dropped in the last 3 or 4 years. It really hurt our ability to pay for schools, pay for social workers, pay for cops, all the things that we do. The other thing that came up is that our oil and gas royalty rate is a lot lower than a lot of other states. At 12%, only Alaska and a couple other states had it that low. We were the lowest, along with 2 or 3 other states. More other states like Texas, Wyoming, Colorado have higher royalty rates, and one of the other members of the committee was saying, hey, maybe that's not right. And the New Mexico Oil and Gas Association's comeback on that was, hey, we need to be competitive with other states, and in order to be competitive, we need to have those lower rates, and that allows more business to happen here, which is something we hear in a lot of other sectors as well. So that's the legislative update for the day that I have in my business. As always, if you have questions, comments, or concerns on these or any other issues, I would love to hear from you, and I hope everyone has a great rest of your Thursday. Thanks.